Ethan had always loved quiet nights. There was something about the stillness, the hum of his computer, and the faint glow of his room lights that made the world feel manageable. On stormy nights like this one, when rain lashed against his window and lightning split the sky in brilliant flashes, he felt both small and important at the same time, as if the universe itself was performing just for him. He was alone, as usual, his parents traveling for work and his older sister staying at a friend's place. Normally, this solitude didn't bother him, but tonight felt different. The storm seemed heavier, more alive, almost as if it were waiting for something. Ethan sat cross-legged on his bed, fiddling with a small telescope he had built from spare parts he found in the garage. He liked to imagine what it would be like to look at distant worlds and alien skies. He had never seen another person interested in these things as much as he was, so he spent most of his time alone. The rain tapped a soft rhythm on the window, punctuated by the occasional low rumble of thunder. He was adjusting the focus on the telescope when a sudden flash of light outside made him jerk back. The light wasn't lightning. It was too sudden, too small, too precise. It blinked once and vanished, leaving only the sound of raindrops against glass. Ethan frowned. His curiosity overpowered his initial fear. He set the telescope aside and went to the window, peering into the darkness. At first, he saw nothing but the shadows of trees bending in the wind. Then he noticed a small figure standing on the roof of his porch, almost glowing faintly. He rubbed his eyes. "No, that can't be real," he whispered. But when he looked again, the figure didn't vanish. It was small and humanoid, with silver eyes that reflected the stormy light like mirrors. Her skin seemed to shimmer softly, and her hair moved as if underwater. She raised a tiny hand, almost timidly, and spoke in a voice that was melodic and strange. "May I rest beside you tonight, human?" Ethan froze. His first thought was that he was hallucinating, that the stress of schoolwork and his obsession with stars had finally made him see things that weren't there. But the figure remained, and the voice sounded real. His mind raced. Who or what was this? How could she even speak English? And why was she here on his porch in the middle of a storm? After a long pause, Ethan found his voice. Okay, come inside." His words sounded weaker than he felt, but curiosity won over fear. The door creaked as he opened it and she stepped in. Her small feet made almost no sound on the floor. She looked fragile, like she might disappear if the wind blew too hard. Ethan noticed her eyes darting around nervously, scanning every corner of the room. You're safe here," Ethan said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. She nodded, sinking gently onto the edge of his bed. Her presence made the air feel warmer, and Ethan realized he wasn't scared anymore. He was fascinated. She exhaled a soft sigh, a sound that made him feel both relief and wonder. "Thank you," she said simply. Ethan took a step back, trying to understand what he was seeing. Who are you? What happened to you?" "My name is Lyra," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "I come from a world far from here. My ship was attacked. I escaped and ended up here." She paused, her glowing eyes flicking to the window as lightning flashed again. "I have nowhere else to go. Please let me rest." Ethan nodded. He didn't know much about alien worlds except from movies and books, but he knew one thing: she needed help. He didn't even think about the strangeness of the moment. He simply wanted to protect her. "You can stay here. Don't worry," he said. As she lay down on the bed, the storm outside seemed to intensify, rain pounding harder, thunder shaking the walls. Yet inside, the room felt calm. Lyra's presence had a strange effect. Tiny particles of light appeared, floating gently in the air. They pulsed and shimmered, moving around her as if drawn to her. Ethan blinked, unable to tear his eyes away. Are those energy things?" he asked. Lyra shook her head slightly. "It is me. My body creates it. I can't control it fully when I am weak. It happens naturally." Ethan's curiosity ignited. He had always dreamed of discovering alien life, and now it was here in his room. He wanted to ask everything at once, but he also didn't want to overwhelm her. "Can you talk to me about your world?" he asked gently. She nodded slowly. "It is far from here, a planet orbiting a sun that burns blue. The air is thin, the sky silver at night. My people are explorers, but some of our kind, the raiders, they seek to control everything they find. They attacked my ship, and I had no choice but to escape." Her voice trembled slightly, but there was determination in her eyes. Ethan listened, amazed. He tried to imagine a blue sun and silver sky, alien landscapes and creatures unlike anything on Earth. Yet Lyra's story was not just beautiful, it was dangerous. She had enemies and they were searching for her. Why come to Earth?" he asked. "Because it is quiet, safe for now. But I do not know how long I can remain unnoticed," she said, her voice softening. Ethan nodded. He didn't know much about protecting someone from alien raiders, but he had ideas. Earth had advantages: storms, forests, cities full of confusing signals. Maybe, just maybe, humans could help in ways aliens did not expect. They talked quietly, sharing stories, their voices barely rising above the storm. Ethan learned that Lyra could sense electromagnetic fields, manipulate small amounts of energy, and even heal minor wounds. Her abilities fascinated him, but he could also tell she was exhausted. After a while, her eyes grew heavy, and she finally closed them, drifting into a deep sleep. Ethan sat by her side, staring at the window. The storm raged, but a strange calm settled over him. Something about this night felt historic, like the universe had chosen his room for a reason. He wondered what would happen next, how he could help, and whether anyone else would come looking for her. Hours passed. The storm began to fade, replaced by an eerie quiet. Ethan's phone buzzed, a notification he hadn't seen. He picked it up and froze. A signal was active on one of Lyra's small devices, a thin beacon pulsing softly in the dim light. Its pattern was not random. It was a tracking signal, precise and unrelenting. Someone was coming. He looked at Lyra, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the danger. Panic rose in his chest, but he forced himself to think. He had to protect her somehow. He had no weapons, no training, only his wits and knowledge of electronics. But humans could be clever. He could be clever. Lightning flashed again, and Ethan realized that the storm itself could help him. With careful planning, he might use the storm, the room's electronics, and even the city outside to confuse whoever was tracking her. The possibilities ran through his mind like a rapid sequence of calculations, each one building on the last. But first, he had to keep her safe tonight, one step at a time. He adjusted the blinds, moved small metal objects to strategic places, and even rigged a makeshift shield for the window using his science project materials. Every action gave him a little more confidence. Lyra stirred in her sleep, murmuring softly. Ethan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'll figure it out. You're safe for now." Outside, the storm began to settle into a low rumble, but the pulse from the beacon continued. It was faint but unmistakable, like the heartbeat of something far away and relentless. Ethan knew the night was far from over. Whoever was coming would not stop until they found Lyra. But humans had strengths that aliens did not always understand: adaptability, creativity, and courage. He took a deep breath, staring at the sleeping alien beside him. This was no longer just a quiet night at home. It was the beginning of something extraordinary, something that might change the way humans and aliens saw each other forever. Ethan's mind raced with possibilities, plans, and precautions. He would not fail. He could not. The fate of this small, glowing being rested in his hands, and somehow he felt ready. Lightning flashed one last time, illuminating Lyra's silver eyes even in sleep, and Ethan smiled faintly. The storm had brought her here, but it was his mind, his courage, and his humanity that would protect her tonight. The adventure had only just begun. And far away, somewhere beyond the stars, the raiders were moving closer. The morning light filtered weakly through the clouds, and Ethan's room was quiet except for the soft hum of the electronics he had set up. Lyra stirred, blinking slowly as her silver eyes adjusted to the light. She sat up and looked around, her gaze sharp yet curious. "The storm has passed," she said, her voice calm. Ethan nodded. "Yes," he said, "but we can't stay here. Someone is tracking you." Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "I felt it last night, a signal. They will come." She rose to her feet, her movements graceful but slightly unsteady. "I need to regain strength, but I cannot hide forever." Ethan watched her, admiration mixing with worry. She was small, fragile in appearance, yet there was a strength about her that made him respect her immediately. "Then we'll fight smart, not strong," he said. "I may not have powers like you, but humans have ways to win without brute force." Lyra tilted her head, intrigued. "Explain." Ethan took a deep breath. "We use our brains. You have abilities I don't fully understand, but you're limited right now. I can set traps, confuse their sensors, use the city to our advantage. Humans are unpredictable and they don't expect that." She nodded slowly. "I see. It is different, perhaps effective." For the next few hours, Ethan worked tirelessly. He wired small circuits, set reflective surfaces around the room to mislead sensors, and rigged some devices to create electromagnetic noise. Lyra watched, occasionally helping by adjusting the energy fields she could control. It was fascinating to see human creativity paired with alien ability. By late afternoon, the sky darkened again, but this time the clouds were ominous rather than stormy. Ethan felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The tracker would not stop, and soon the raiders would arrive. But for the first time, he felt capable of meeting the challenge. As they prepared to leave the house, Lyra paused. "Humans are fragile. But you think in ways we do not. It is impressive." Ethan shrugged, feeling a little embarrassed. "I just try to figure things out. Problem solving is what we do." They slipped out the back door and moved toward the nearby park, a maze of trees, small hills, and footpaths. Ethan's plan relied on using natural cover to break the tracking signal. Lyra floated slightly above the ground, her glowing form barely noticeable in the dim light. "Remember," Ethan said, "we're not trying to fight them directly. We just confuse them enough so they can't find you." Lyra nodded. "I understand. Lead the way." They moved quietly through the park, Ethan's eyes scanning for anything unusual. His heart pounded with a mixture of fear and excitement. Somewhere above, he imagined the raiders' ship descending, looking for her. But humans had ingenuity and he had plans. Suddenly, a bright light cut through the treetops. Ethan ducked instinctively, pulling Lyra down with him. The light scanned the ground and they saw shadows moving, small drones hovering with mechanical precision. "They're here," Lyra whispered. Ethan whispered back, "Stay close to me. Follow my lead." He had prepared for this. Using small mirrors, reflective panels, and a few metal wires, he created an improvised array that reflected and scattered the drone's sensors. The first drone swooped closer, scanning the park floor. It hesitated, confused by the signals bouncing off the makeshift setup. Ethan took the chance to throw a few small electronic devices in different directions. They beeped and flashed, drawing the drone's attention elsewhere. Lyra raised a hand slightly, sending a faint wave of energy that further disrupted the sensors. The drone wobbled in the air and then retreated. Ethan grinned, heart pounding. "It's working. They can't tell where you are." More drones arrived, but Ethan's trap slowed them down. Each time they approached, the reflections, flashes, and noise threw them off. Lyra grew stronger with each passing minute, her glow becoming steadier, energy flowing through her. "This is exhilarating," she said, a small smile on her face. "Humans are clever indeed." Ethan laughed softly. "And don't you forget it. We may be fragile, but we're unpredictable. That counts for a lot." The raiders themselves appeared as shadows in the sky, enormous and menacing. They seemed almost robotic, but Ethan realized they were organic, augmented with technology. Lyra tensed, energy pulsing around her. "We must act quickly," she said. Ethan nodded. "I have an idea." He led Lyra toward a small hill in the park. Hidden beneath fallen leaves and debris, he had laid a network of simple electromagnetic devices. When activated, they would create a false heat and energy signature, simulating a human and alien presence in a different location. He whispered to Lyra, "When I trigger this, follow the energy pulses. They'll think you're over there." Lyra tilted her head but agreed. Ethan activated the devices. Energy sparks ran through the wires and the false signals spread through the area. The raiders reacted immediately, heading toward the decoy, leaving the real Lyra and Ethan in relative safety. "Good work," Lyra said quietly. "Your strategy saved us." Ethan allowed himself a moment of pride. "We're not done yet." The raiders were persistent. They quickly realized the decoy was fake and returned, more cautious this time. Ethan's mind raced. He needed something bigger, something unexpected. He looked around the park and saw the storm-drained puddles of water, metallic playground equipment, and scattered benches. Inspiration struck. "Follow me," he said, leading Lyra toward the city's edge. They ran, ducking behind buildings and structures. Ethan rigged puddles to create electrical flashes, reflecting panels to mislead drones, and used narrow alleys to slow the larger raiders. Each action bought them precious time. Lyra's energy now surged naturally, no longer weak. She could contribute more directly. "Now," Ethan whispered, "we finish this." Lyra focused, creating a concentrated pulse of energy. It moved through the devices Ethan had set up, amplifying the signals and overloading the raiders' sensors. One by one, drones lost control, crashing into walls or floating uselessly. The raiders' large craft above wobbled, systems failing, unable to pinpoint their targets. Ethan felt a rush of adrenaline. "We did it," he shouted, barely containing his excitement. Lyra smiled, her glow bright and steady. "Humans are remarkable. Your mind, your creativity, it matches what many think of as superior technology." They didn't stop moving, though. The raiders were retreating, but Ethan knew they might return. They needed a place to hide, regroup, and plan. He led Lyra to an abandoned warehouse, filled with old machines and clutter. It was dark, but it offered perfect cover. Inside, they finally allowed themselves to breathe. Lyra collapsed onto a pile of soft debris, exhausted but safe. Ethan sat beside her. "You're going to be okay for now," he said. Lyra's silver eyes looked at him, gratitude shining in them. "You risked everything for me. I owe you much." "You don't owe me anything," Ethan replied. "I just did what any human would do. We protect each other. That's how we survive." She studied him for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Perhaps humans have greater potential than we realized. Your courage, your ingenuity, it is inspiring." Ethan felt a warmth inside, a quiet pride. For so long, he had felt small, ordinary, incapable of changing anything. But tonight, he had helped save an alien life, outsmarted enemies far stronger than himself, and discovered that humans were not as weak as many in the galaxy assumed. The hours passed quietly. They shared stories, Ethan learning more about Lyra's world and Lyra listening with fascination about Earth and its people. Their bond grew, a quiet understanding forming between them, human and alien, equal in courage, different in abilities, united by necessity and respect. Eventually, Lyra rose. "I must leave soon," she said. "My people may come for me. I cannot remain hidden forever." Ethan nodded, though a pang of disappointment touched him. "I understand, but wherever you go, remember, humans can do more than you think. And we'll be ready if you ever return." She smiled, and for a moment Ethan thought he saw pride in her eyes, a rare recognition of his worth. "I will remember," she said softly, "and I will return when the time comes. There is much to learn from humans." As dawn broke fully, Lyra's form shimmered and rose slightly above the ground. She gave Ethan a final nod, a silent promise of return, and then she vanished, leaving only a faint glow that slowly faded into the morning light. Ethan stood in the empty warehouse, heart pounding, a mixture of awe, relief, and excitement filling him. The night had been extraordinary. An alien had trusted him, and together they had outsmarted beings far stronger than themselves. He realized that humanity's true strength wasn't just in muscle or technology, but in creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt. Looking out toward the horizon, Ethan smiled. The universe was vast, full of dangers, wonders, and mysteries. And humans, ordinary, clever, and brave, had a place in it after all. He returned home, already thinking about how to improve his devices, what lessons he had learned, and what might happen when Lyra returned. The adventure was far from over, but for now, he had proven one undeniable truth. Humans could rise to any challenge, even against the stars themselves. And somewhere, far beyond the skies, a small alien girl remembered a human's ingenuity and courage, and knew that the galaxy had changed forever.